Hi everyone, it's your girl Issa for Saturday. This is like the fifth time I'm making this video because I keep like messing it up. But this week's topic is trans and sports, or transgender people and sports. Now, for me personally, I wasn't really interested in sports at a young age. And then when I was at that age where like you could explore your sports interests, so 12 or 11, I already knew I was trans and I wasn't comfortable playing on sports with all boys. And then I wasn't comfortable playing in sports. I wasn't allowed to play on sports with all girls, and I didn't want to be recognized as male on co-ed sports. So, I just decided not to do sports at all, even though I could. And I've kind of been interested in sports, but it's not like I'm gonna die without them. So, my personal feelings with the sports community is that they are not very welcoming to trans people because very, very few sports institutions and organizations have things stating whether or not a transgender person, A, can compete in a place of their gender identity, and then B, guidelines that will let them do that. So requirements, so like this amount of time on hormones. Do you need this surgery or not? Or do you need proof of being trans or not? Things like that. And then also, like, they don't have a gray area for people who, you know, aren't male or aren't female or don't have male advantages, or female disadvantages. And I really hate that, because the gay community is being so well accepted into sports, and we're still struggling. Like today I was listening on NPR how they're like, oh yeah, we're making such great strides. The sports community is becoming so accepting of LGBT people. And I was just like, no, they're not. You still have the T to worry about, you know? And in a way, I guess it's because we as trans people, we have different needs and different issues than gay people, because this is like a whole different, like this is a flip-flop. We're going from one to the other, whereas gay people are just, letting people know that they prefer to sleep with this person versus that person. We're telling people that we identify as this rather than that, and that's a big thing because it's an identity, not a sexual identity. And you know um now the biggest thing with sports right now, currently, focusing on male to females, but I'll also focus a little bit on female to males, is this whole advantage disadvantage thing. Now this can be seen with Fallon Fox, because lots of people, when she came out, were like, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong. First off, Fallon Fox is a man, and she's beating up all these women, and she's doing this to cause violence on women, and all this stuff, and I'm just over here like, no, Fallon Fox is a woman, and she's just good at winning. But in the back of my mind, I was hoping that she would lose, because that would give me the argument that I needed. Now, I am half saddened, but also half happy to say that she did lose. And this prompted me to do a lot of research into the stats of the people she has fought and the stats of people who her opponent who beat her had fought. Now, as I did this research, I found that all of the people who Fallon Fox had fought earlier were either shorter or weighed less than her. And all of the people that her opponent, Ashley Evans Smith, had fought were either shorter or weighed less than her. And in both of these cases, they won. So I don't feel that it's just your born gender that gives you this advantage. As I was saying with the big spectrum of, well, it's not a spectrum, but in a way of with trans people, this big fluidity with biological sex. There's also this big fluidity with advantage. It's not just gender. It's also things like height and leg strength, arm strength, upper body strength, head strength, things like that. Is there even such a thing as head strength? I don't know. But there are lots of other ways that someone has disadvantage. And obviously, in this one, in this fight, Ashley Lee Evans Smith had an advantage over Fallon Fox. And that is why she won. And that advantage was probably her weight and her height, which gave her a lot more strength, you know? It just really makes me sad, though, because people don't understand how big this loss is. Like, for example, let me read y'all some of the comments that people had said in this thing, you know? Ugh, it's so, ugh. I mean, these comments were so... For example, Ella Mayo, beat by a girl. What a faggot. LOL. Ugh. And then this other one. Hold up. Oh, this is great. You know, when I last checked it, there were like a lot of negative comments, but now it seems like there are a lot more positive comments. But ooh, great. I found one. Ugh. LOL. Why the F word is he competing against women? This is almost as bad as Cyborg using roids to get an unfair advantage. LOL. At least the effer got his butt kicked. Ugh. Now, if it has to be defeated by an actual woman, people should stop complaining that it doesn't belong in WMAA. Now I want to see Ashley rematch Veronica. Getting Tia. Okay. Good. Okay. Oh God. This one is terrible. It doesn't belong. It's a freak. Having it fight is just sick. No, it's still a man, and with better training, it will become unbeatable by an average female athlete. You can see even when Gastic clearly had strength advantage. You see it more in the last fight against Elena Jones. Even though he had a sex change, he can still fight men. He knows he can beat men, though. He's not getting any more fights out of these women. The only reason Elena fought him was because her odds were decent, considering how bad he sucks. Plus, she probably needs the exposure. Wow. These comments really make me sick. I swear, like, I mean, I don't even know what to say to these comments. Like, first off, they're not only misgendering her, they're calling her an it. That's terrible. Why would you call somebody an it? Like, she's not an object, she's a human being. But this really just shows how long of a way we have to go. I'm just disturbed kind of right now. Ugh. But I stand clear in my argument that she does not have an advantage. And even if she does, it is not an advantage that is enormous or that no woman can beat. Because obviously, Ashley Lee Evans is proof of that. I'd also like to point out some of the backlash that has come here, you know. Ashley Lee Evans, first off, she went and she was like, oh, you know, she doesn't have an advantage or nothing. And then she had the nerve to say that she did have an advantage and all this crap. And I was like, girl, stop. Don't go back on your words. You know, obviously you beat her, so that means she didn't. Ugh, we have a long way to go, guys. And I am sorry that sports is just another thing that's just a struggle for us. I hope you enjoyed this video. I need to hurry up on time. And I will see you next week. Bye!
But this is an argument put forward by a lot of people that being trans is an advantage in sports.
Anyways, like I said, this